Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are distilling a week of just staggering shifts in technology. We're living through a moment where the boundaries between digital intelligence, government policy, and our own physical biology are literally blurring at lightning speed. So, we're going to move from the explosive growth of AI software straight into the corridors of power. And finally, dive into the very code of human life.
Here's our roadmap for the explainer today. We'll start with the AI adoption explosion, look at the economics of AI, analyze the government's response, explore AI for biodefense, and end up with hacking human longevity. These might seem like totally disparate trends, but together they actually form one cohesive story about the unprecedented acceleration of everything.
Okay, let's dive right in. Section 1, the AI adoption explosion. And really, the speed of intelligence. To truly wrap our heads around what's happening, we kind of need some historical context. Think about this. It took YouTube a full decade to hit 1 billion monthly active users. 10 years. Instagram took 8 years, and TikTok took 5. But ChatGPT, it reached that massive 1 billion user milestone in just 3 years. It completely shatters the historical growth timelines of previous tech giants. And honestly, it did it almost entirely through organic growth. And hey, it's not just OpenAI riding this massive wave. Anthropic's Claude model is rapidly expanding too, boasting an absolutely massive 640% year-over-year growth rate. They're sitting at around 56 million monthly active users and climbing fast. The big takeaway here, intelligence is actively scaling to reach every single person on the planet.
So how does all this hypergrowth translate financially? Let's look at the staggering numbers in Section 2, the economics of AI and these trillion-dollar trajectories.
What's absolutely wild to consider is how an AI lab like Anthropic operates. They have roughly 5,000 employees, right? But they extract an incredible $9.4 million in revenue per employee. That completely dwarfs our legacy tech titans. Apple generates about $2.5 million per employee, and Google sits around $2.1 million. So these AI companies, they aren't just growing faster. They are structurally a different beast, extracting almost 4 times the value per person compared to the absolute best legacy companies in the world.
And because of that crazy structural efficiency, we're seeing a massive compression of time. It took Apple 42 years to reach a $1 trillion valuation. Google took 21 years. Meanwhile, OpenAI is on track to hit that in roughly 10 years. And Anthropic is accelerating toward that $1 trillion mark in potentially just 5 years. We're talking about an unprecedented concentration of wealth happening faster than anything we've seen in modern economic history. With such incredible wealth, power, and capability concentrating so quickly, it's time to see how the government is responding. Section 3, Government versus AI and the struggle for control. Right now, we're seeing 2 completely contrasting political approaches from U.S. leadership on how to handle this whole boom. On one hand, you have a strategy prioritizing deregulation and rapid competition. This is highlighted by an executive order removing heavy-handed regulations in favor of voluntary model reviews. The whole ethos there is, we compete, we don't constrain. Now, on the exact opposite end of the spectrum, we're seeing a push for public ownership. Senator Bernie Sanders pitched an AI sovereign wealth fund, which would be funded by a one-time 50% stock tax on major AI companies. The argument there is that since AI trains on public data, the public deserves a direct stake. So you have 2 radically different visions for the future of AI governance. And here's the kicker. This incredibly complex political tug-of-war is unfolding at a highly volatile moment for public consensus. We're in an era of deep public skepticism. Trust in mass media has fallen to a historic low of just 19%. When 81% of the public doesn't even trust the news they're watching, navigating the real-world implications of advanced AI and deciding which regulatory path to take, well, that becomes exponentially more difficult.
Let's pivot from policy to the physical world for a minute. Section 4, AI for biodefense and securing the physical world.
We are rapidly approaching an era where AI doesn't just write software code, it can actually write the code of life. As AI becomes a tool that could theoretically synthesize dangerous pathogens, industry leaders have literally petitioned Congress with a stark warning. We need laws requiring DNA synthesis companies to screen their orders. Because right now, you can just go online, order custom synthetic DNA, and have it printed. The very real fear here is that bad actors could use large language models to engineer biological threats, making mandatory screening an absolutely critical choke point for global security. To combat these very threats, the frontier labs are stepping up. Take initiatives like OpenAI's Rosalind Biodefense.
They're equipping trusted researchers and government agencies with specialized AI tools. These aren't your standard public chatbots you play around with. They are dedicated, restricted systems designed specifically to detect outbreaks and accelerate vaccine development. So we're essentially seeing the capabilities of public AI being intentionally held back, while highly specialized models are deployed straight to governments to defend the physical world.
All right, let's jump into our final section and explore how this exact same computational power is being used to hack human longevity itself. Section 5, Upgrading the Human Machine.
Massive capital is flooding into the longevity space at a scale we've simply never seen before. Entire nations are making it a priority. There are reports that Russia is committing $26 billion to anti-aging research by 2030, really targeting things like 3D printed tissues and transplantable organs. And over in the private sector, startups like New Limit just raised a $435 million round focusing on epigenetic reprogramming. Basically, they're trying to reverse cellular aging. The ultimate goal driving all of this? It's something called longevity escape velocity, the point where science extends our remaining life expectancy faster than time is actually passing. And we are already seeing real-world results today. In a recent phase 1 clinical trial, a single gene editing infusion dropped bad LDL cholesterol in patients by a staggering 62%. And those results, they were sustained for up to 18 months. Let's actually break down how this specific therapy, called VERVE-102, works, because it's literally Star Trek-level medicine. Step 1. It uses CRISPR base editing paired with mRNA delivery. Step 2, a single, one-time infusion travels directly to the liver and permanently switches off a specific gene called PCSK9. And finally, step 3, because that gene is now deactivated, the liver retains its LDL receptors, which allows the body to permanently clear bad cholesterol from the bloodstream entirely on its own. We are successfully editing human biological software with a single shot. So from ChatGPT hitting 1 billion users in record time, to the creation of these trillion-dollar AI economies and single-shot therapies literally rewriting our biology, the acceleration of everything is here. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final thought to really chew on. If these massive investments in AI and biology actually double our health span in the coming decades, how will that fundamentally reshape our global society, our economies, and your own life? Thank you so much for joining us, and keep questioning the future we're building.